Good morning. It's time to chat and have coffee, and boy, do I have a chat for you today. Incidentally, the mug that I'm drinking out of and the coffee that's inside of it is from my friend Jordan. Perhaps I will have a picture of her Instagram here. She very kindly sent me a bunch of free samples of coffee in this lovely mug from her husband's coffee company. Thank you, Jordan. But we've got a lot to talk about today. Not a lot of time for, a bunch of goofy bits in this video. This is time for serious business. Like the launch of my very serious bindery page called Tongue in Cheek. I love the name. I love that. I'll tell you about how the name came to be. I decided I was going to do this a while ago, and I was chatting with my good friend Jose Orlando, and I was trying to come up with a name, and I was throwing out names, and he was like, "These are all terrible names. You're very bad at names." Just like Shane Hollander is bad at being gay, I am bad at naming things. And I was throwing out these bad names, and he was like, "No, no, no, this is the worst. It's like you got to have something that's like fun and funny. You need something that's more, what's the word? Tongue in cheek?" And it was like, I mean, we're having this discussion over text, but it was like one of those, it was like in a movie where someone, says something and then the other person is like, "Wait a minute. Say that thing one more time. Tongue in cheek? My God, that's it." So yes, I'm joining the club. I'm officially launching a bindery page today. I would like to tell you why I'm doing it and then what you can get if you sign up. I started reading romance books several years ago and I fell in love with the genre. I think that romance is for everyone. It's just everyone doesn't know it yet. And I was the everyone. I was the one who, before a couple years ago, thought that romance wasn't for me. And there's a lot of reasons. We don't have time to unpack all of that in this video. There are a lot of reasons why people think that. A lot of reasons related to sexism and misogyny and patriarchy, and as it pertains to romance, homophobia. But fuck that. Romance is great. Well, romance can be great, but I think it takes all of us together to make it great. And that was very much the theory behind everything that I'm doing on the internet related to romance. I come to the internet with a perspective, almost an ideology when it comes to discussing romance books, which is I want to take them as seriously as I think that they are. I think that romance books and the genre is an art form, a serious art form that is worthy of critical engagement. And it's also fun and joyful and a place where we can be ourselves and find ourselves. But something that I have noticed, and I'm sure many other people can't help but notice, is that a lot of the romance genre gets sucked up by a small number of authors and a small number of types of stories. The most popular books, the most popular authors, the most popular stories dominate the genre. It does have an awfully long tail of indie and self-pub authors who are doing great and interesting work, but a lot of those authors kind of never get their shot because not only do they have to be an author and think of incredible stories and craft compelling characters and write it and publish their book, they also have to do the marketing for their book. They have to get their book discovered in a very competitive landscape. There are, it seems like, dozens of romance books that are published weekly, if not daily. So for the past few years, I have been doing my small part by engaging critically with the genre and also putting out information that many authors have told me that they found useful. Mostly about butt stuff, let's be real, but I have enjoyed being a public resource for people, and I think that we can take that much farther. And that's where Bindery comes into the picture. If you're not familiar with Bindery, Bindery is like Patreon. In fact, one of the heads of the company was the former head of product at Patreon, but it's just for book stuff and book creators. A Bindery page works a lot like a Patreon page. It has posts and you can put your social stuff there, and it has memberships, free memberships and paid memberships. The revenue from those memberships for most creators on Bindery gets split 75-25 between the creator and Bindery, and it's meant to create a community. A lot of the creators who are on Bindery right now, just because of how they launched, are in the science fiction and fantasy genres, but Bindery is growing very quickly right now, and there's lots of new kinds of creators coming onto it, like me. There aren't a whole lot of romance creators on Bindery, and I hope that changes in the very near future. For signing up to my Bindery page, there are a number of benefits that I will detail for you in a moment, and if you sign up in the first week, which also also happens to be my birthday week, I will be giving you some birthday presents in the form of a few giveaways, which I will also mention in a few moments. But before I get into the crass material reasons why you might want to sign up for my bindery, I do want to give you an idea of the longer term vision here. Bindery communities that grow to a certain point, that get enough people in them, turn into what Bindery calls imprints. Bindery is not just an online social community page, it's also a publisher, and they have published, I think, over a dozen books at this point. Mostly in the science fiction and fantasy genres, and that's something that I want to change, and I think we can do it. You see, I want to bring us all together in a community to discuss and promote romance books and the genre, and have a community large enough that can be an imprint so that we can publish our own romance book. The way it works for Bindery imprints is every so often, once a year, or sometimes several times a year if the community is large enough to support it, there is an open submissions period where unagented authors submit manuscripts that get read by Bindery and the Bindery creator, and then the community comes together and decides on which of those they want to move forward into publishing. The money picture changes a little bit for imprints, so 50% of the revenue from members on Bindery goes to Bindery and 50% goes to the creator. That extra 25% is used for the publication process, which includes a $10,000 advance for authors, which is well above the industry average. So the incentives are clear and there's transparency here. The creators of imprints also make money off of the sales of books. The authors take 50% of the net revenue from books, and Bindery and the creators split the other 50%. Now, this is a big dream. This would be a big swing. I don't know if we will ever be able to get enough people to do this. Science fiction and fantasy is huge, and romance is popular, but it is not nearly as popular as just general romance. So I'm taking a big swing here. I hope that some folks in this community are up for taking a swing with me. And if we never get to the point of being an imprint, I have some very cool ideas for things that we can do together as a community along the way. And on top of all of the like oofy groovy changing the romance genre stuff that I want to do, there are some giveaways and things that you might be interested in. So if you sign up for either the free or one of the paid tiers of my Bindery during my birthday week, so between today, August 12th, and Monday, August 18th, you will be entered into several giveaways. We're going to be doing some gift list giveaways and book bundle giveaways. So for people who win gift list giveaways, you will be getting 5 books chosen either randomly, or you can tell me which ones you want, off of an Amazon or bookshop.org gift list. The book bundle giveaways are a little bit more extensive. Winners of book bundles will be receiving my 10 favorite romance books as a bundle. 8 of them physically, 2 of them are sadly only available as ebooks right now. There will be 1 gift list and 1 book bundle winner in the free tier, and there will be 2 gift list and 2 book bundle winners in the paid tiers. The only requirements for the gift list giveaways is that you have a publicly accessible gift list on Amazon or bookshop.org or a similar website. The only requirements for winning a book bundle are that you live in North America and you are willing to give me your address to ship you a book bundle to, or that you have Amazon or bookshop.org and you're open to putting all of those books on your gift list and letting me buy you from them off of the gift list. And if you want to know what my 10 favorite romance books are that will be in the book bundle, you can go to my Bindery, sign up for the free tier, and it is in the pinned post on that page. And I have weird feelings flowing down my back, even setting this up this way. You gotta go to my Bindery and sign up for the free tier. I feel weird and maybe a little sleazy asking for anything like this, but I am asking. I hope that what I do here on the internet with romance books and the genre is something that people find value out of. If you sign up for my Bindery, even at the free tier, but especially at one of the paid tiers, that is a demonstration of the value that you might get out of this, and you are supporting me and hopefully in the near future supporting new and emerging authors. I absolutely understand if that is a bridge too far. These are hard financial times for everybody. The free tier will will get you access to some exclusive content on my bindery, and I am going to be launching a book club in the next month that folks in the paid tier are going to be helping pick books out for. And people have asked, are there ways that we can suggest books for future deep dive discussions? This is how. Folks who sign up for the paid tiers will have access to suggesting books and voting on books for future deep dive discussions. And if this is not for you at the paid or the free tiers, I totally understand. Just following me here on YouTube and on Instagram is more than enough. And I appreciate everyone who is along for the ride in this community and the thoughtful engagement that you all display, which we will turn to now. Oh, thank God. I made it through the bindery stuff. So terribly awkward. I'm going to have to bring it up in the future. I'm very sorry. I really would like this to be successful, but you have to tell people about things and ask people, and that is not in my nature. Anyway, let's get to comments from the channel over the past 2 weeks. So it's been 2 weeks since we've done a community roundup. There's lots of comments from lots of different discussion videos and coffee chats that we've had. Starting with this one from reading, writing, running. It sounds like someone who reads and rides and runs. This is on my role model book. One of the reasons I like this book so much is because Reed doesn't shy away from heavy topics, rape culture, sexism, homophobia, etc. And I do trust her to handle them. Agreed. I think that role model, just like the more distance I have from it, the more I'm just like, that was the best one. It just like hit all of the, it's a really good romance book, and it also like really seriously engages with these other topics. Long Game has, it's in the long game too, and I think it's nice that Scott Hunter comes in at the end and is putting together, you know, the Avengers of hockey. But I think Role Model was even more successful. Not that Long Game wasn't successful, but Role Game was even more successful at really like getting into those topics. And I agree, I trust Reed to handle those as well. Also, can I just say I admire your strength in being open, honest, and vulnerable on the internet. Just writing this comment makes me anxious, LOL. Heart hands. Makes me anxious too, but I appreciate it, and I hope that demonstrating my openness and honesty and vulnerability helps other people be open and honest and vulnerable on the internet. And I hope that I am creating a safe place for us to have these kinds of conversations, and that we can all become stronger together through the sharing. I hit this. It made a noise. It made a ding. Emma Savage says, I definitely agree with you about the repetitive plots about closeted characters. I think that this was on my role model video, but might have been a coffee chat. I was complaining a little bit about how a lot of the Rachel Reed Game Changers books have coming out stories in them. Being closeted is something that queer folks deal with, but it's not the sole struggle in our lives. That is my main point. It might seem to be the most interesting thing, or it's perhaps not the most interesting thing, but it's the thing that authors might be able to like get the most out of for like plot. But there's so much more. There's like queer people's lives are so much more interesting than our coming outs. Interestingly, Emma says Rachel's 2 standalone books have both deviated from it being the main conflict. That is interesting, and everyone on the planet seemingly has told me to read Time to Shine. I promise I'll read Time to Shine, and the other one is The Shots You Take. I just need a break. I need a break from hockey, a long break. So I will read those books, but I doubt it'll be it's going to be the winter. It might even be next year. Emma closes by saying, also love the QAA QAnon Anonymous pod shirt. They're my go-to pod to listen to while doing my grocery shopping. I was just listening to QAA before I sat down to record this. They are, weekly listens for me. I've been listening to them for years. If you are interested in plumbing the depths of online reactionary culture through a leftist lens, QAA is great for that. I also recommend Knowledge Fight if you want to keep up with Alex Jones and InfoWars. Not like good. Not, like he's bad. They don't like him. I don't like him. Who likes him? Retton Scarlet says, something that strikes me about the series is that the individual storylines are mostly laid out well to make up the overarching narrative. Hard agree with this. Despite Game Changer not necessarily being the strongest start, it does a good job of setting up the world and introducing the characters. I don't think you can have the rest of the books without Game Changer. The timing of this book also works best where it is hard to imagine the emotional payoff of Troy's development without seeing him with Dallas earlier in the series. Yes. I hated that guy, hated Troy, because of how he showed up in Tough Guy, my, subjective favorite in the series. And that's just like really, really good. Like sometimes like in Rena Kent books, you can just tell like, oh, this chapter is purely for introducing a future main character. And that's not how Troy comes off at all in Tough Guy or Common Goal. Like he seems like he's just tied up in this toxic masculinity commentary, and it turns out he's a main character. So it's like it's a bit of a fake out, and authors, it's hard mode character writing when you dig someone that deep. I don't have this comment in here, but someone in a recent video of mine said, or I might have been on it on Instagram, said like, "Oh, I was never going to read Role Model because I really hate Troy." And I'm like, "Yes, that's why you must read it." That's how I felt. Like, just go with it. Go with it. See, like, no, understand that he's starting from like sub basement 8, but like trust, believe that he's gonna get to the top of the building, and you're gonna cry because of all of everything that happens at the end of the book. Rhett and Scarlett also says, I would also echo what some other people have said and appreciate your willingness to engage with all of this material in such a meaningful and sometimes vulnerable way while mixing in a lot of humor. Thank you. Thank you. Let's move on. This is Aster, Moth in the Light. Even though I'm a total Ilya stan, most people are, no worries, almost everyone is. Harris was one of my faves and a breath of fresh air. Totally. I think Harris and Fabian are like really like underrated main characters in these books. I loved how quirky and layered he was, the family stuff, the cider, his humor. I literally wrote cinnamon roll in human shape. In my notes, he's exactly the kind of character I wanted in Common Goal. Passionate and quirky. 100%. Harris is very memorable. Also, this book is such a great setup for the next one, especially with Ilya and the team. Hard agree. And like that's why I think like this and The Long Game are the two critical books in the series, because they're The Godfather and The Godfather 2 of them. I love that we're catching up with Ilya on his upswing in Role Model. And he's a very important, like his stability and his leadership is very important for Troy. So it's like gobsmacking when you get to the beginning of The Long Game and you're like, he's not there. Where is he? Oh no. Oh no. He's been dug, but not dug deep like Troy, like in the dirtbag hole. He's in the depression hole. It took a while, but Rachel really nailed how to tie the series together by making side characters feel meaningful. Yes. Love that we got get a lot more hockey. I wish this was the Hockey Heat level for Heated Rivalry. Agreed. More heated, less rivalry. We know. Lauren Valentine 3898 says, I appreciate the fact that they're the Ottawa Centaurs when Ottawa's NHL team is the Senators. Yes, I didn't know that, but yes. And this lets me bring up my MVP of fake pro athletic team naming, and that's Katie Casey. They have a whole alternate universe of baseball teams in their Unwritten Rules Elephants series that I think are all like very cleverly named. But in their upcoming release breakout year, they did their best. This is the peak of fake team naming. So the main character plays for the Cosmopolitans, the New York Cosmopolitans. So this is a play on the Mets. And there's like 3 levels here. So Metropolitans is what the Mets are. The Mets is short for Metropolitans. So Metropolitan means like urban, like an elite urban person, and cosmopolitan means worldly. So those 2 words match up. But you can also shorten metropolitans to Mets and cosmopolitans to cosmos. So there's like a second layer there. But there's a third layer, which is that Breakout Year features 2 Jewish main characters, and I think all of Casey's books feature a Jewish main character. Cosmopolitan is a slur for Jewish people. Largely emerged out of like the Soviet Union, but calling someone cosmopolitan is it can be a snide way to refer to a Jewish person. So it's also like reclaiming a slur against Jewish people in this like Jew for Jew gay romance book. Genius level naming. I just thought that was so smart. Novelty Corner, good name. I like that name. Really looking forward to your Long Game video. It's out, and the Sarah Simone one. I'm editing it. It will be out on Thursday. Your Game Changer videos have been fantastic. Thank you. And it's been nice to watch them and reflect on my own thoughts of the series, which I read last year, especially how much I love Role Model. I love all of the love for Role Model. Which I definitely now want to go back and reread. Have a fabulous day. You have a fabulous day. A slight detour from all of the Rachel Reed discussion. Fione, I think I was talking about arcs in a previous coffee chat. They say, I'm particularly annoyed by a wave of reviews for arcs for books that don't hold up for the general population after publication day. I've recently read several recently published books that I didn't like, go to log my 2-star review, and every review post-publication was like mine. Every single arc was a 5-star. I'm pretty sure I and my fellow 2 or 3-star reviewers were more correct or truthful, at least. I now take all 5-star reviews based on when the book was when the book was read by the reviewer with a grain of salt. I think there's absolutely some truth here, and I think that there's multiple things going on here. One, there's selection bias. If you sign up for an arc of a book, it's probably something that you wanted to read. So you're just by nature of the fact that you wanted to read it early, it seems like you would be more likely to rate it highly. Two, there's selection bias going the other way, which is authors or publishers implicitly or explicitly are probably looking for people who read in their genre and read in their niche and rate books like the book that they are giving them the arc of highly. So, right, it's people self-selecting who are probably apt to rate the book highly, and it's the people giving the arcs selecting people that they think are going to like their book because they want it to get rated highly. Right, there's no, it's like this is all part of marketing. Like there's no real incentives in either direction for there to be like honest reviews, but it doesn't mean that people are lying. It means that we're talking about like honesty in the aggregate. The honest reviews are like the average star rating. It doesn't mean that the people who really like the book are lying about the book. It's just that we've artificially selected all the people who like the book, even if the overall distribution is like different. Then there's the pressure of, if you got the arc, there are multiple kinds of pressures there. There is like an internal pressure of like, well, I got the arc. I mean, maybe I should rate it highly because it's like kind of sunk cost fallacy. I put the work in to, for it. There is the pressure of, oh, I want to keep getting arcs. And now we're getting into the more like, oh, maybe like honesty is a little bit in question. I know for sure that there are review focused accounts who mostly rate things fairly highly because, they might be a little concerned about if they rate something more lowly, not getting arcs in the future. So, it's just like, it's a thick soup. It's a thick soup there. But I agree that when a book is only out in arcs, it's way more likely that it's going to have, that like 4.5, 4.6 star rating. And then when it's out in the general public, that's probably going to go down. I mean, I think something that you can do is you can find specific people who you like and trust who read books. And if you like and trust them, if they really like the book, then it kind of, it matters less what everybody else said about the book, whether everyone else said they loved it or everybody else said they hated it. Back to Game Changers. Steph Wagner 6126 says, spot on analysis of Shane. This is me kind of discussing how I think he might be a little neurodivergent, and that in particular that Shane and his relationship journey in the long game seemed to me like a really honest and real depiction of like just communications mismatch in a relationship. Steph says, I've hit some of these points when discussing with people who hated him. So many people hate Shane too. I picked it. There was only a handful of people in the comments on this video who said that, but like I had a public story asking like what people thought about the long game or they wanted me to talk about on my Instagram like a day or two before I recorded the video. And so many people were like, how much did you hate Shane? How much were you annoyed by Shane? And that's why I'm like, I gotta talk about this. I feel like he was never intentionally hurting Ilya, just oblivious to it for the most part. And like you said, he's not a mind reader. A lot of people either have this language because we've all had the same therapy maybe, or they picked up on it from what I was talking about. But I think people are expecting Shane to be a mind reader when Ilya was not telling him really important things about himself. There was just like, they were not on the same page. Also, his Broveries aren't getting enough carbs made me LOL. Your Broveries need carbs, what can I say? I have noticed in my, now that I am approaching my twilight years, that, my Broveries are, they are pinging. And then if you look at me, I get enough carbs. They're getting enough carbs. Dorkvania7212. Great name. I really liked this book as a series finale, The Long Game, and was surprised to learn it wasn't meant to be one. Right, we were supposed to get a Luca book. It really feels like the end, though, right? One thread I wish had been more followed through on is Shane being uncomfortable with different kinds of queer men. Yes, absolutely. He realizes this and wants to do better. I like to think that's why he asked Scott to recommend a honeymoon spot that's very gay, because he wants to have more experiences. Agreed. But in my heart, he becomes BFFs with Harris after joining the Centaurs. Yeah, I mean, like, something that this makes me think of is, this is not, obviously I love MM Romance. I'm like trying to launch an entire like major project related to it. But I think that there is some drawbacks to like worlds like this being created principally in the MM Romance genre, because you could tell more stories in this world, but it's like, because of the conventions of the genre, it's like, well, every one of them has to be a romance story, right? And it's like, you can do that. You can just like keep finding people to put in there. But like, I think there's nothing compromising about Shane and Ilya's happily ever after to see more stuff about them, like how they change hockey. Like, it would be very interesting to just see like what's going on at Game Changers hockey camp, And it sounds like Reed is thinking of doing that with novellas and short stories. And I think people are maybe like a little bit more like they're down for that if you're like, oh, it's bonus content. It's a little novella. It's a short story off to the side. But I think that there is just like more that you can do in the Game Changers universe. And it sounds like Reed is going to do that. T-Dog819 says, couldn't wait for this video. Love it. Can we do the same for the TV series? Maybe with my good friend Jordan, who sent me this coffee. I don't know. We'll see. My friend Liana says, I've been meaning to make an in defense of Shane Hollander in the Long Game video for so long. Make it, girl. Because while he definitely makes quite a few mistakes, so many mistakes, bro. So many mistakes. Fans are so hard on him for not being a mind reader, but I very much relate to Shane as well. So maybe that's some bias. I think I do too, and that's why I wanted to say those things. I absolutely 100% agree that Shane is like not a perfect character and he like screws up a lot. But make that video. Make that in defense of Shane Hollander video. I will repost it. Red and Scarlet again says, something I find interesting is that Shane is one of the more intense Shane is the one with more intense internalized homophobia, while Ilya grew up in ostensibly the more homophobic environment. Although, as you mentioned, his team/league is hugely homophobic. I think that is very interesting. Not sure how to attribute or unpack that, but I do think it's interesting. As sort of a corollary, I think people, even with supportive families, can develop this feeling that it's okay for people to be gay, but not us somehow. I felt that way for sure. I didn't come out until I was in my mid-20s, even though like there was no like external reason why I shouldn't. I just had a lot built up inside. And I think I replied to this comment on YouTube, but the thing that I think is something that I think is going on there is that there's the environments that these characters that are in. Shane is in this much more supportive environment where it seems like it would be much more safe for him to come out. Supportive family, supportive country, and Ilya is in exactly the opposite. But then their characters come into the picture as well. So Shane is like so locked up and shame focused and embarrassed about everything, and he's just like deeply internal, and I think that he probably has ADHD, or maybe he is on the autism spectrum, whereas Ilya is like reckless to a fault and boundary pushing. And I think that probably like in his youth like hooking up with a guy was part of that boundary pushing. And I'm not saying like he became bisexual just because of that, but that he not necessarily felt comfortable, but he is more comfortable with pushing boundaries and being reckless and doing things and being expressive in a way that Shane isn't. So it's just, I just think like those like are very neat packages around both of their characters. Good writing. Brad from Brad Bought a Book says, I'm not crying, you're crying. No one was crying, Brad. We all just like simultaneously got something in our eyes. He tries -Y5S. Great video, Carter. Thank you. I met your channel. Oh, that's what a great way of putting it. I met your channel after finishing Heated Rivalry. I love that. I met your channel. After finishing Heated Rivalry last month and was waiting for the video on the last book of the series. It's out. You're welcome. Although Ilya is my favorite character from these books, I tend to agree with you that Reed failed a bit on giving Shane more challenges in order to make him a more likable person. But with all of its flaws, this book series really became my top favorite regarding MM romances. I think that this was a great series to start the work of this channel with, because I don't think that like Game Changers is like the best books that have ever been written, or like these are the best characters ever written. But I think that is a very strong set of MM romances and sports romances. And I think it just sets a good tone at the beginning of the channel of like good, interesting writing, flaws, but also huge successes. Just like, yeah, I agree. It's up there for me. Thank you for sharing a bit of your background with us. That was very important and brought some clarity to your perspective. I think that's always very good for reviewers and commenters to bring their biases and their backgrounds so people understand, like, this is where I'm coming from. Your videos make my day. Oh, thank you. I'm glad to have met you. And hugs from Brazil, hugs from the United States, hugs from Virginia. Mike Martinez 2348 says, I think I'm in love with your discussions of these books more than the books themselves. Guys, you're embarrassing me. The books are better than good, but I have my own favorite hockey series from Avon Gale. Maybe I will check it out sometime in the very far future. But these are all really good listens because my vision is sometimes wonky, so I read by listening. Plus, my husband and I can spend weekend mornings listening to them. Now I have to convince him you're cute enough to watch and listen to when you do your House Plus discussions. I'm like so cute. And finally, from WK4124, Hot Barber. I assume you've seen Looking twice. If not, it includes one of the hottest barbers ever on screen. So, with regards to Hot Barber, W/R/T Hot Barber. One, hair is a little long today. I have an appointment booked at 3. I know Hot Barber is available at 3, but I picked any stylist and we will see what hand fate deals me. 2, I am very facial hair right now. This is the longest I've let my beard grow for months, if not years, and it's gonna go. I'm not keeping it. Someone said like mustache maybe on a video, and I'm like, it never works. And I'm growing out the whole thing to see like how much mustache can I get, and the answer is like, no, it's bad. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. It's gonna go. It's gonna go. And then, yes, I've seen Looking, as I said twice. I love Richie. I'm Team Richie, not Team Kevin. And if you've read the book The Prospects, which is one of my top 10 MM romances, so if you stayed to the end of the video, that's one of the 10 on the list. I thought immediately that Luis in The Prospects was Richie, that in my mind he looks like Richie. So, and I think that, yes, he is insanely hot. Yeah, but I have my own insanely hot Latino, not barber, but soon to be husband. As always and ever, I am just humbled and in awe by the level of discussion in these comments. I really hope that there's an opportunity for us to take this over into Bindery and the Discord that's set up with that. There's some like cool stuff that I'm just starting to put together on Discord. If you are a Discord maven, if you know a lot about it and you are willing to, sign up for the ride with me on Bindery and you would like to be a mod or to like help me figure out a little bit more about that, please reach out to me. I'm super open to the help. I'll never be able to thank you all enough for engaging with me the way that you do. And I know it's even more to ask now to sign up for something else, but I am excited to see where it goes. I hope you all have a wonderful day. All right, so we are testing, and we're also reminding ourselves that while we really like this shirt, we cannot raise our arms and it will not work.